Morning. Day 2 of our Monadnock Sunapee Greenway. Got some coffee. Sun's coming up from the east. Spent the night last night here at Spiltor Shelter. Last night the temperature went from 39 when I went to bed to 27 this morning, so significant drop in cold, causing some things to freeze. Water bottles are starting to freeze up. It's not good. As you may have seen, I had problems with getting my bear bag down. It turns out that the branches were wet. When I put the rope up there, the rope stuck to the branch. Fortunately, it was a dead but not super dead branch, and it did come down with a couple good tugs and didn't hit me on the head. Today's challenge is going to be water. There's water in 3 miles. Guess what? It's actually snowing right now, a couple of flakes. In 3 miles, there's a water source. It's not the greatest, it looks like, but it looks like it'll do. The problem is water's going to freeze along the way, so I'm going to have some challenges because all day it's going to be below freezing. I think it's going to hit a low of around 25, give or take a few degrees, and it'll probably be a little bit colder than that on Mount Monadnock when I reach the summit. Finish packing up and get going. Don't want to lose any of the daylight. Alright, I've hiked about a mile and I'm starting to get warmed up, but it's still pretty cold out here, 29 degrees. Come to my first major road crossing. As you can hear the traffic down below. It's 6 miles this morning to Mount Monadnock, maybe a little bit more than that. It took me a lot longer than I thought to get packed up this morning. I left a little bit before 8 o'clock, even though I got up at about 6:15. Looks like the trail enters the Northeast Wilderness Trust area here, and hikers are welcome, thankfully. We're about a mile and a half in on our hike today, and we came to this abandoned shed. It looks like a shelter, but according to the Far Out app, it's not a shelter, it's just an abandoned shed, and camping is not allowed here. So anyways, Spiltor is much nicer, and it's only a mile and a half from here if you're going northbound. Well, close to 2 miles in, we're back on some single track in the woods, which is nice. But again, these woods roads have been really cool, and really can't complain about it. This morning at camp, I had a little technical difficulties with my bear line. It froze to the limb and I couldn't get it down. Eventually broke the branch and it all came down. But that's something I never ran into before. So if it was above freezing and wet when I put it up there, and in the middle of the night it dipped below freezing and caused that branch to freeze. So that could be a challenge maybe on the AT down in Georgia if it freezes overnight. So the other challenge I had was finding a rock about fist size or a couple smaller rocks to put in my line bag, which I tie off when I throw up and over the limb. So after searching for a while, I used my fuel canister to do it, and that worked out okay. So that's another tip or trick that might help someone in the future if you can't find a rock for your bear line. So according to Far Out, Mount Monadnock is 4.3 miles ahead, but I'm getting my first sight of it now, and you wouldn't see it if it weren't for the lack of leaves. But there she is. That's our southern terminus, and that's our main objective for the day. Of course, we got to walk all the way back to Spiltor after that. Okay, we're leaving the Wildwood Wilderness area, and we're going to be doing a little bit of a road walk on Old Marlboro Road before we head back into the woods. So last night, it was pretty quiet night. There was an owl nearby, and I heard him hoot a couple times, but he didn't go on and on, or she. And there was one screech, which is either the owl swooping down to get a mouse or something, or I don't know, something else screeching. I don't think there was much other wildlife out there. Definitely no big wildlife to speak of. If you've been following my channel, you know that I like to be out and hiking on Veterans Day, and today is actually Veterans Day. Normally I go for a backpacking trip every year because I was working and that was one of the days we got off, so it made for a nice long weekend. And I often did things like the Appalachian Trail for a 2-night backpacking trip or so. Now that I'm retired, every day is Saturday, as they say. But today is Veterans Day, so I want to shout out to all the veterans who've served our country. Appreciate your service. So this morning I used the water I had left over from last night, although some of it was starting to freeze. I put just a little bit of warm water that I'd cooked in my pot in this water bottle, and I added electrolyte to it, and it's doing fine. There's no ice in it. My small smart water bottle has frozen up a bit. It's been below freezing since we left camp, and it's still below freezing. The nozzle is all frozen, so I have to open it to drink. But I have a water source here. I'm gonna add some water to this, maybe put a little bit in a bag, and I'm gonna add some electrolyte to this to hopefully keep it from freezing as we go up Mount Monadnock. Just wrapped up that water stop. I topped off both my bottles and added electrolyte to the second bottle. I'm also carrying about 1 liter in my dirty water bag because it'll be another 6 miles before I get back, and that will be my next water stop. All right, we've reached the Dublin Trailhead, which is part of State Park. From this map here, we're up here at the Dublin Trailhead, and here's Mount Monadnock. I have hiked Mount Monadnock 3 times before. Once from Marlborough Trail, once from the White Dot, and once from the Birchcroft. So this will be my 4th time. There's even a few more ways to get up there, but it should be interesting here. Apparently, your donations will help keep the porta potty here. We got about 2 miles to get to the top of Mount Monadnock, about 1,800 feet of elevation gain. So it's about 900 feet per mile. Gonna be pretty steep, so I'm gonna probably warm up, maybe take a layer off, and probably when I get above tree line, put another layer back on because it's gonna be windy and cold up there. Well, hopefully slow but steady wins the race. I'm 1.2 miles from Monadnock summit, which is at about 3,300 and some odd feet. The wind is picking up and the rocks and roots are getting icy because the temperatures are falling back below freezing again, and we had a lot of rain last night, so really gotta watch my steps because I have no traction on these trail runners. Looks like we're in for a little scrambling here. Okay, just 7/10 of a mile more. We're still in the trees. Definitely lots of roots and rocks. Seen a few more day hikers coming down the mountain. Here comes another one. Well, we're about 6/10 from the summit. You can see here that the trees are getting frost on them, and that's what was making the mountain look white. Hopefully that's all it is. There's definitely a lot of slick rocks up here and puddles that are frozen over, so you still got to be careful. But check out these trees. Well, I would definitely say things are opening up. That was our first view. This is our second view, and the trees are getting shorter and shorter. It won't be long before above tree line, and views are just fantastic. Look at those lakes down there. In case you're wondering what the D's are for, I think that stands for Dublin Trail. And there's a lot of trails that come to the summit here, and you don't want to find yourself hiking down the wrong trail. We've reached Jim's Junction, It's 2/10 of a mile to the summit, and the Jim's Junction is where the Marble Trail splits off from the Dublin Trail. And I've done the Marble Trail before. Alright, I've reached the summit here, Mount Monadnock. Don't know how long the battery's going to hold up for, but it is windy as hell up here, and I don't plan on sticking around too long. Man, I'm really getting blown around here. Probably can't hear me anyways. Well, I'm back below tree line. Just took my third slip of the day. Got a little wet, a little sore. Hopefully everything's all right. Didn't talk much on the summit. It was windy as hell. That is the southern terminus of the Monadnock Sunapee Greenway. I'm gonna be looking for a place to set up and sit for a spell and have my lunch. Just stopped for a quick lunch on that rock. Had my pita with tuna and mayo. Wasn't probably enough, but I'll get by. A couple more things about the summit I wanted to mention. One, it was like 22 degrees up there. I don't know how strong the wind was, but it's 30 degrees down here, and we're like maybe a mile from the trailhead, the Dublin trailhead. We got quite a bit to go to get back to camp. So, and I got to stop for water, I think, because I'm almost out of water. So it's going to be highballing it, which is a railroad term, which means trying to go fast. So just to recap, I got into camp, it was about dark, just about. I didn't turn on my light till I got to the shelter, but it was getting very dark. Did 12.75 miles on the day. We're back at the same shelter we left from this morning. Got all my chores done. I didn't stop for water at that water source, and I basically made it back with enough water in my pouch to cook dinner and have something to drink. I have a little bit left over. It's a terrific day. I really enjoyed hiking Monadnock from that direction. Beautiful views, just super cold and windy up there. I couldn't stay up there for long. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Thanks a lot. I'll see you on the next one.